Yo, was good. Today I'm gonna be having basically my first discussion, with you guys. And it's just basically gonna be a rant. Uh, it's, I guess you could call it a rant, you could call it a discussion, you could call it information, you could call it anything. Um, it is gonna be informative, and it's not just gonna be, personal things, it's gonna be objective things. Well, it's still going to be opinionated because some people are still going to have strong feelings about it, but it is going to be something. It is going to have objective views on why this certain thing should happen, um, while the end decision is not objective in itself. So what I'm going to talk about is, gender diversity and gender fluidity. Basically, the entire gender spectrum should be taught in, like health classes or things like that. Um, so there are classes where they teach you things such as sex ed, etc. In basically an entire mesh of different things about the human body called health class. Instead of it being like separated across different classes, and basically, yeah, all that is informative about sexual health and a lot of different things of the sort. And I think they should teach gender diversity and like the entire spectrum of that in that same class. There are gonna be people like, why are you teaching that to kids? But it's purely informative. It's not saying, all right, you're gonna chop your dick off or something like that, even though that's not how gender replacement surgery works. But yeah, it's not anything like that. It's just telling you the concept of that and what happens in that, why they do that. Basically, the entire physical and mental aspect behind that, etc. On a strictly and purely informative basis. Um, it honestly would be really important for people to learn that, considering it's a real thing that happens across actually different cultures. Like, for example, there is Two Spirit, which is basically an entire mesh believing, believe. It's faith, I guess. It's an entire thing behind that, between Native Americans, where basically the bounds of gender are uh, non existent. And while I do say that, I must add gender is a spectrum, sex is something you're born with. So basically, yeah, there are three sexes: male, female, and intersex. Intersex is pretty rare though. It's basically where sometimes you can be born with two Y chromosomes, two X chromosomes, and a Y chromosome. Sometimes you can even be born without any sort of sexual, like, organ, without any reproductive organs. Um, and yeah, that's a form of intersex. Although it is very rare, like less than 1 in 200 people have it. It way, 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 way less. Than that. So a lot of people don't know about it, but yeah. And then there's gender, which is basically it's called gender identity for a reason. Gender is basically just a form of identity. Like, for example, uh, woman, it's basically more feminine traits. Uh, man, masculine, I guess. There's also non-binary where you're not really feminine or masculine. Sometimes you're both feminine and masculine. You have both of those traits. And there's gender fluid where you just kind of flow between those, between both neither feminine, masculine. That's basically an entire thing. Gender is an entire like spectrum that you feel based off of personality. Yet sex is what you're born with. Um, like for example, if you have a penis, you're a male. There's no changing that. You can only be a male if you're born with a penis. Um, except gender is different. It's it if you can study on the whole idea. It's kind of hard to put into a short little video without making it like an hour long. But yeah, same goes with female. If you're born with a vagina, you're a female. But yeah, gender doesn't really have to do with that. It's just you see females being women a lot because stigmatizing feminine traits. Same with male being men. Yeah. But yeah, I think the entire concept of that should be taught in health classes for the sake of better understanding of gender identity and the concept of that. And it sounds like it's a new thing, but that's like calling left-handedness a newer thing, because because more people admitted they're left-handed after it wasn't shown as being a sign of the devil. Actually, ancient Mesopotamia, first civilization known to man, their entire civilization had four genders, believe it or not. And beyond that, there are so many civilizations and villages even before like civilization. Like the entire concept of gender in itself wasn't really a thing. It was uh, it was just you're you. That's really about it. Yeah. But yeah, that's basically how it goes historically. Um, yeah. Um, I think that's about all I really had to say. See you guys. Have a beautiful day.